It's time for JUCO Jam, presented to you by Dream Big Athletics, hosted by Tad Slowick, an exciting new podcast bringing you all the great action from JUCO baseball. Here you'll find weekly updates from around the country, highlighting the teams, players, and coaches who impact the game at the junior college level. Everything you want to learn about JUCO baseball can be found here and on our website at dreambigathletics.com. There you'll find our weekly team rankings, the top player rankings headed into the spring, and all the news of what is happening in the game at the junior college level. On this show, you will have many guests, coaches, players who will give us insight on the day-to-day, behind-the-scenes working of junior college baseball. And now our host, Tad Slowick.
Welcome, baseball fans, to another episode of the JUCO Jam Baseball Podcast, brought to you by Dream Big Athletics. I'm your host, Tad Slowick, and we got a special guest with us today is David Shelton, head baseball coach at Walters State College. Welcome, David.
Thanks, Tad. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I mean, you've run a great program over the years, and, again, you got another quality team here, 48-8, I believe, and just have made a nice run so far through the season, and now the hard work really begins. So congrats on the program, and give the audience a little bit of background of how you got to Walters State.
Well, when I got out of college, I was hired at East Tennessee State as an assistant by Ken Campbell. He was a longtime coach at East Tennessee State, and then after 1 year at ETSU, Coach Campbell got the head coaching job down here at Walters State. I remained at ETSU for the next 4 years and, completed my master's degree and stayed on coaching a couple more years. And when Coach Campbell got an opening down here at Walters State, he offered me the assistant's job, and I came here in 2003. So I was his recruiting coordinator for 10 years. Obviously, he was extremely successful as the head coach here. He's a Hall of Famer. I was fortunate enough to be his recruiting coordinator for 10 of those years. And then when he retired, our pitching coach became the head coach, Joey Seaver, who's he had been with Coach Campbell the entire time, and he was the head coach for about 6 months, and then he got hired as a minor league pitching coach for the Texas Rangers at the time. So it was that January, right before the season started, that I became the head coach in 2014, and that was a little bit of a whirlwind, becoming the head coach 10 days before
Right.
the start of your season. But we managed to get through that first season, and like I said, I've been the head coach ever since. I've been blessed with some really good assistants while I've been here. My pitching coach, Sean Robinson, he's been with me the entire time. I hired him in those 10 days that I had before the season started back in 2014. He's done a great job. And then, we've had some really, really, good assistants along with him along the way. So, I've been pretty fortunate.
Well, you made good use out of those 10 days hiring him. So,
yeah. To say I was in scramble mode was an understatement to say the least. But like I said, we made it through it, and here we are.
Well, the rest is history, and the quality of program you guys run over there is unbelievable. Top level every year. You're top ranked. Last year's team, when I saw you guys play, this was the first time I saw your program play, and unbelievable amount of talent, and just the way the kids went about their business and how hard they played is just, kudos to the program and things that are going on there. And I believe you were ranked number one pretty much all the way throughout the year last year, and finished, I believe, third in the national championship. And that was just a great team you had. Pitching wise, you had Cole Drake, Wesley Scott, Gio Rivera. I mean, all those guys were drafts, pretty good drafts too. So
yeah, that was having a pitching staff like we had with those guys, that's a once in a coaching career happening to come across guys like that. Cole Drake was National Pitcher of the Year. I think he ended up with about 160 strikeouts, and I think 17.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Yeah,
His numbers were just silly. And the guy that wasn't drafted is now a weekend starter at UNC in the ACC. So, we had four. I called them the four horsemen a little bit. They were pretty good, and then the guys that came in after them were really good and did a good job. So it was a fun pitching staff to have. I mean, you knew you didn't have to score many runs to give yourself a chance to win.
right. It was great. You could do that too, still with McNeely and Backus. Those guys in the lineup. That Backus, I always enjoyed watching him play. What a big stud he was. He just a big, strong, physical kid, and McNeely, played the game well on both sides of the ball, and so it's just a great year, and came up a little short. I mean, but what a outstanding group you had last year. And obviously, you talked about the pitching that you had last year. This team's a little bit different. You got a team batting average of 356. You got 110 home runs, which is about 2 home runs every game. And you scored 579 runs, which is over 10 runs a game. So the offense has been clicking pretty good, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's been a fun group offensively, and a lot of them are freshmen and have a chance to be back next year even. So it's I kind of knew from the start the fall got here and we didn't perform very well in the fall, but it was against a lot of Division I teams that were are having a little bit of success this year
Right.
at the D1 level. We go and play North Carolina, Coastal Carolina. And you run into guys like that. Well, yeah, I guess our true freshmen were going to struggle a little bit. And we did. We didn't hit that great this fall, but I felt like from the start we were going to have a pretty good offensive team, and they've really, really picked it up this spring and shown through and done a great job.
Well, and speak of a couple freshmen, Danielle Ortiz has 16 homers. You got Jared Martin with 13 homers. He's your catcher too, so getting 13 homers out of catching position is just unbelievable. And then you have 5 guys who got 11 home runs. Cruz Newman, I remember from last year's team, really did a good job. Cole McCallum, Corbin Shaw, Curtis Reed, Cooper Torres. I mean, that's a heck of a lineup for someone to have to pitch against.
Yeah, that's you look at those 3 infielders or 4 infielders, our normal infielders. I'd have to do the math real quick, but Ortiz has got 16. Curtis Reed, our shortstop's got 11. Cooper Torres, our second baseman's got 11, and Corbin Shaw, our first baseman's got 11. So
49 homers.
Yeah, that's pretty good. If you can get above 40 home runs in your infield spots, you feel pretty good about things. And you mentioned Jared Martin; he's been a big surprise. He redshirted for us last year, and I thought he was going to hit toward the end of the year. I mean, he was with us out in Grand Junction, taking BP every day, and watching him hit. It's like, oh yeah, he's going to turn into a hitter. And then he was one of the ones that just really struggled this fall a little bit. He kind of went into a funk early, and it took a little while to get him out of it. And so he had a rough fall, but then the spring started, and it's like every time I put him in the lineup, he's hitting a home run. I mean, he's got 13 home runs and only 101 at bats.
Wow.
So and 50 RBIs. So he's been a big boost to our offense the way he's performed. So. Obviously, he's been a blessing for me.
Yeah, definitely a good lineup from top to bottom, and they've been producing. So hopefully they can keep that up in the postseason. And you got some quality pitchers there too with Landon Crumbly and Jackson Hull. They're 2 veteran guys for you.
Yeah, those 2 and Braden Matthews. Braden was on our World Series team in 2001, and then he redshirted last year, and then he's back throwing this year. He's been phenomenal all year. And Crumley was probably our number 5 guy behind those four horsemen.
Right.
Did a great job coming out of the bullpen, and I've transitioned him to a starter this year, and he's been solid for us all year long. And Jackson Hull he was a transfer from North Carolina A&T, and he's been big for us too. He's been a three pitch mix guy that's done a good job. And then a couple of our bullpen guys have been really good, like Blake Cooper and Carson Bonaparte and Taz Butler. Carson's a transfer from University of Notre Dame. He's kind of taken over that closer's role, but he's come in and pitched in some big situations. I think he's got 5 wins, all in relief, and a couple of saves. So he's been really big for us at the back end of games as well.
Yeah, and I mean, it just it seems like you got a good mix, too. I mean, you got some talented freshmen, and then obviously the guys, Newman and Crumbly, from last year, and just in general, guys coming into the program. I mean, they know they have to come in there and play hard and do all the right things too, because there's such high expectations, and the quality of program that's been built up here is just you got to come in with your A game, like you said, or you struggle.
Yeah, well, it's we're big on competition here. I try to make these guys aware that, listen, if you don't perform, there's going to be somebody there, wanting your position, and that's just part of it. Even these freshmen that have had a lot of success this year, I hope they don't think that they've got their positions sewn up, and I always say complacency is the enemy of success, and these guys, they do a good job here for the most part. Our kids have done a good job of avoiding that complacency, which is really hard to do, especially for 18 to 21-year-olds. I mean, it's a lot of times you have that success and you just kind of want to sit back and enjoy it. But these guys have stayed motivated and have done a good job of continuing to work hard and keep improving.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's very impressive about what I've seen throughout the years with your program is that even though these kids are very talented guys and they can get hey, I'm good, I'm going to just go out there and just do what I do, but it seems like they're playing hard at a high level, competing at a high level, and that's why I think you've had a lot of success there too. Is the way these guys compete between the white lines has been pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think it goes back to a word we use in our program a lot is tradition, and it's even on a giant 30-foot sign outside our left field fence and it shows us dogpiling for our national championship, and we put that up there because we want our guys to kind of recognize that and understand that they play each year not just for themselves but for the guys that did it before them. The guys that have been doing it here for years and years. And to me, there's a lot of value in that. And there's a lot of big to have that tradition here and to have a desire to keep it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't want to be that team that is not at that high level. So
Yeah,
you don't want to be known as those guys. But speaking of competition, you always have just tough competition. You guys play top level schedule every year, and then just your region is loaded with good quality teams, and that Chat State team seems to just get hot at this time of year too. I mean, they start out kind of under the radar a little bit, and then they get hot. And Southwest Tennessee's had unbelievable year too. I mean, they have 41 wins, I think they have, and and then Dyersburg Strait, kind of your rivals there. I mean, they're always coming bringing it to you, and you got it's not an easy road ahead.
yeah. Well, I think sometimes the coaches here in our state are a little bit underrated. I don't think people understand how good the job that a lot of the coaches in our state do, and it gets overshadowed a little bit, I think. But every weekend we play, it's a dogfight and it's challenging, and I tell our guys this, like, you want to be challenged. Like, that's the only way you're going to have a shot. If if we're fortunate enough to make it to Grand Junction, you better have had some challenges along the way during the season, or you're not going to be prepared for what you're getting ready to run into in
Right.
Grand Junction.
Right.
I keep waiting for that one year when there's a pushover or two out there in Grand Junction. It doesn't happen. I mean, nowadays to get out there, it's the best of the best. So.
Yeah, well, actually, last year is my first year at Grand Junction, and I'm going. This is great. The atmosphere is just unbelievable out there. And then I come out and I'm watching Mizorowski throwing 101 against Westner from Central Arizona throwing 98. So you tell me junior college baseball doesn't have some pretty damn good players, and then the quality of team you guys had out there last year with the Four Horsemen and the quality of bats you had in the lab. So yeah, it's game on out there, man.
Oh, you're right. You hit the nail on the head when you talk about just the atmosphere and everything, and the level of competition. I mean, shoot, we ran into Wosner later on in the tournament on short rest, and I think I'm pretty sure his 115th pitch of the game was 96 on the black. I mean, you're not supposed to be able to do that at our level, I don't think. But that guy should have been in Double A already, I think.
Right.
But I mean, that's what you run into out there. I mean,
Right. Both those guys high draft picks too. You know what I mean? And so you're running into the best of the best. So you don't have to say too much about the team. You better be prepared to get out there. So.
Yeah, and they've started seeding it now, and I don't know if it's a hard thing to do when it comes to seeding
Right.
based on you look down and we were the 1 seed last year and we're playing the 10 seed, and shoot, they probably had 46, 47 wins on the year. I mean, it's not like a real 10 seed, I don't think. I mean, you'd think you'd think there'd be some advantages to being seeded first, but there's not really in the World Series because everybody's so good.
Yeah, and I do the rankings every week, and people think, you'd probably just toss those together real quickly. No, man, it takes me so damn long to figure out who should be ahead of who, and even then, who knows if I'm right or wrong or not. But there's so many good teams at the JUCO level, and that's what really has got me going here at the junior college level. I've only been really heavily involved the last couple of years, but the talent level here, the development that's going on here, the coaching that's going on here, I mean the players, I mean this is some big time baseball. And a lot of people forget that you're playing against college age kids. You're not playing against, you get a weaker high school and you could feast up a little bit, but you're playing great competition all the time.
Well, and junior college baseball is just like the rest of college baseball. When COVID happened, it got older. I mean, there were a lot of third year junior college players playing in that World Series last year. I mean,
Right.
they're of age to be a junior in college. I mean, it's and by then they're seasoned veterans, and yeah, it's as good a competition as you can come across.
Right. So in the postseason, you make it out of your region, and then you play the winner of the Georgia. Is it?
Yep, the winner of the Tennessee tournament plays the winner of the Georgia tournament, a best 2 out of 3 for
Right.
it's the Appalachian District championship. So, and it alternates sites. 1 year Tennessee will host, the following year Georgia will host. This year Georgia gets to host. So, whoever wins the Georgia tournament will host the Appalachian District.
Yeah, and good quality teams down there. Georgia Highlands. Andrew had a nice year run there, and this South Georgia State has just been, red hot lately. So there's going to be some quality teams coming out of there to play. So
Yeah, well, that Georgia tournament's always one that it's always interesting to watch to see who's coming out of there. I mean, a lot of years it's a surprise. I've seen a lot of years that the number 4 seed gets
right,
hot at the right time and wins that tournament. But
right.
last year we played Georgia Highlands coming out of the tournament. And they were a great
Yeah,
club.
they were red hot too. They were coming off a lot of wins last year they had in that program. So
Mm.
it's good. So no easy road, but that's the way you kind of prepared these kids. So hopefully they will respond in due time. So
Yeah.
it'll be good. But thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate it. I always enjoy watching your program. Your players play. They play hard, and they're a very talented group. And we wish you nothing but best in the postseason. And we look forward to talking to you again. Thanks, David.
Thank you, Tad. I appreciate all the kind words, and hopefully we can get things going and make it through some of these tournaments coming up and have a shot to get back out there to Grand Junction.
Sounds great. All right, all the best, David. You have a good day, and we'll talk more about JUCO baseball with you down the road.
Thanks, Tad.
Take care.
You've been listening to JUCO Jam. For all your junior college needs, go to dreambigathletics.com and make sure to tune in to next week's episode of JUCO Jam.